Hi. If your dog was just diagnosed with IVDD and you're trying to understand what happens next, this video is for you. During the next 12 minutes, I'm going to do my best to walk you through what those first 24 hours look like for me and what I wish someone had explained to me like more clearly. Um, I'm Jennifer. Hi. In 2020, my dog Hara was diagnosed with intervertebral disc disease, also known as IVDD, and it happened overnight. Um, I wish that I could say it was all a blur, but I still remember that day like it was yesterday. That morning, I took Hara and my other dog Picasso out for their morning walk, and I noticed that Hara just was slower than usual. He wasn't excited to be out, and when we got back home, he just wanted to lay down. So I just assumed that he was tired. Um, like many people at that time, I was working from home, so I just let him rest and I went about my day. Something felt off and I knew it. I just wasn't familiar with the signs of IBDD. Um, I kept looking at him, um, making sure that he was okay, and also trying to convince myself that it wasn't that serious, that he was going to be okay. But later that night, he started wobbling and suddenly he collapsed. His legs just like gave out, and it was so scary. So I rushed him to the emergency vet nearby. And because we were in the middle of the pandemic, I wasn't allowed to go inside with him. So there I was at 1 a.m. in the car crying, just bawling my eyes out, just waiting for the phone call. And when the vet finally called, the first thing she said was, "Your dog is paralyzed from IVDD." That's it. There was no explanation of what IVDD was, or just what was going on, just that one sentence. And then she followed to give me like three options. You just like, you can go ahead and rush into surgery, but that will be nearly $10,000 and we require a 50% down immediately. Um, she said that we can also put him down for you, or you can take him home with pain medication and explore other options. You know, um, that's it. I remember just feeling so overwhelmed because I didn't have like $5,000 in that moment, and they didn't mention anything about financing. They didn't take the time to explain what IVDD really meant, or just nothing. But I knew one thing for me was for sure that I wasn't going to end his life without understanding more. So I paid for the medication and I brought him home. And that night, I just couldn't sleep. I definitely couldn't stop crying. So here I was at 3 a.m. going down the Google rabbit hole, trying to understand what was going on, and honestly hoping for like a miracle. But everything I came across was either clinical research that obviously was a little too overwhelming and just not what I was looking for. So just wait until the next morning and I call a regular bed. And at the clinic, they were fully booked that day, but they made time for us. And unfortunately, the diagnosis was the same. Hara was paralyzed, and not even a surgery could change that because his case was so severe that um, even if money wasn't an issue, the surgery had a 20% success rate. So when the vet told me that over the phone, I just remember like crying, and I honestly like threw up inside my mask, and I just started having a panic attack. So he took the time to come out, help me just calm down, and he helped me understand what IBDD is. No medical jargon, just like plain language. And if for those of you who don't know, IBDD is a spinal condition that can cause like pain, nerve damage, and sometimes paralysis. Um, Obviously, it's different for every dog, and like I said, in Hara's case, obviously it was so severe that not even the surgery could help. But my vet also gave me another option, which was conservative treatment. And he said that that was still an option. It will be an expensive one, um, but with therapy, commitment, and a lot of changes in our lifestyle, Hara could still live a happy life. Not the same one, but a meaningful one. And it wasn't the miracle that I was hoping for, but that conversation really changed the tone of everything. Um, and I decided to make that commitment to him. Um, I think that a lot of people don't know much about the condition, and I wish that more people knew the signs, and some dogs are able to walk again, some don't, some need surgery, some thrive in wheels. And like I said, it can happen overnight. Sometimes there's really no way to prevent it. It's just, it is what it is, and um, but even with paralysis, it's not the end of the world. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. And I think for me, um, I want to go ahead and be really honest that that chapter can be ridiculously overwhelming. I'm talking medication schedules, like strict grade rest, like financial stress, sleep deprivation. And if your dog is paralyzed, like Hara was, you're looking at multiple bladder expressions throughout the day, which feel impossible at first, and honestly can be really scary to do. And I the first time I had to express his bladder on my own, I think it took me like 45 minutes, and I like cried the entire time. But eventually, like everything in life, we adapt. And even when we don't think we are ready, just we just adapt. And it's not even about being strong, it's about loving, in my case, loving my dog enough to learn something new. um, Now, I've always taken like pictures of my dogs, like Picasso's like 17 years old, and I literally have archives that go back to him being like 1 year old. So all that to say that at the beginning of this new journey, I started documenting like our moments to track Hara's progress. And due to the pandemic, I couldn't have like people over, so I decided to share some of those moments on social media, to update like family and friends who couldn't come and see us in person. I'm talking like moments from, morning blood expressions, medication setup, meal prep, how I rearranged my entire home, and how I made it work. Um, you know, it wasn't easy, but I made it work. And one of those videos, actually, one of those routine videos, reached 1.6 million views, and the DMs started coming in with questions about the things that were working for me and Hara. So that's when I realized that I wasn't alone in this. Others were also quietly struggling with their own version of the diagnosis with their dogs, and they were just as confused and as scared as I was. Um, and just like many others, I also had to change a lot of things in my life after the diagnosis. But eventually, you figure it out, and I got to have 5 more years with Hara. 5 years that one night they were never promised. And Hara crossed the Rainbow Bridge last year, and while losing him was devastating, this is not about the ending. Um, this is about the lessons that I learned and the moments of joy that I share with him. Over those 5 years, like I built a lot of systems for myself, like checklists and things, that will help me, um, you know, figure things out. I also, figure out what was a waste of money, time, and energy. So my hope is to use this channel to share these lessons with others, along with resources that I collected along the way, in case it helps somebody else just adapt to their situation, um, a little better. Um, this is not medical advice, by the way. This is just my live experience. And because I work full time, what I share here will be intentional. Um, it won't be all at once because, I need to go ahead and take my time. And if I'm being honest with you all, recording these videos makes me really nervous. Like I said, I'm not a medical expert or a content creator with perfect lighting or polished scripts. And um, I had to record this video all over again. I'm recording this video all over again because I forgot to turn the mic on earlier. So yeah, um, so I'm figuring this out as I go, and I'm challenging myself to do this because sharing about this part of my life feels really scary. But I told myself that if I learned how to care for a 70-pound paralyzed dog on my own, how to express a bladder, manage medications, rearrange my entire life, and show up with, you know, for him and show up for myself every day, then I can also sit in front of the camera and talk about our IVDD journey, especially if it helps, others, if it helps you. So these conversations might be a little raw and I might ramble a little sometimes, like I'm doing right now. Um, but they'll be honest and I'll be honest. And if you're here and if your dog was just diagnosed with IBDD, honesty is exactly what you deserve to come across. No fluff, just support. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you for hanging out with me in my little corner of the world. And if what I share helped even a little, you're welcome to follow along. And if you're just quietly watching for now and trying to gather information to help you figure out what you need for you and your dog, I'm glad you found your way here. Like I said, my hope is to share information that is going to make a difference in the life of others. I do want to raise awareness for IVDD in dogs, and I I hope that um, everything that I don't want to say what I went through, but everything that I experienced during my IVDD journey with Hara, and it was just as much of Picasso's IVDD journey. It was like the three of us. Everything that I experienced, the joy, the the sadness, everything. I hope that I'm able to share this with you all in a way that is not sad, but in a way that it can be just helpful. So I'm getting a little emotional. So I think this is where I have to say goodbye. And I also am really proud of myself because I didn't cry. So yay. Um, so yeah, thanks for hanging out, and I guess until next time.